Okay, so let's start right now. My name is Sankeetha Selvarajah. I am joined by Jamar Creech and Uzoma Eze. All of us are part of the corporate team at Romano Law PLLC. We are doing our part two. Last month was part one of fundraising essentials for startup success. We're going to dive right into it and actually give you enough time to actually ask questions or to actually send us questions. And then we can actually address them as it goes. If you have any questions, put them into the chat as you see them, and then we'll be sure to address them as well. Okay, so a recap from part one, okay? Want to identify your needs, clarify your roadmap, and capital requirements first. We did that last time as well. And if you still want a recording or a recap or summary of that, let us know, email us, and we'd be happy to send that over to you. You want to also assemble your team, ensure your business team, including your attorney, is ready for you with you before your round actually starts, and then to evaluate your reasons, like confirm valid reasons to fundraise and rule out invalid ones, because you shouldn't start a raise or a round without knowing some key components first. We're going to dive into top 10 founder mistakes. This is the best way that we can actually show you what to do by showing you what not to do. Okay, to start us off, Jamar's going to start this first half of it.
Yeah, so number one, not creating company structure. Believe it or not, this happens far more frequently than people want to admit. So I know it may sound simple, but you want to start off with setting up your company in the proper manner, going through the registrations with the appropriate state. And this is done to ensure that your company can receive investments legally. As part of the registration process, you'll have foundational documents far beyond just your, the articles of incorporation. You actually need some governance documents to be prepared as well. And the other portion of this is distinguishing between which structure you should have, whether that's an LLC versus a corporation. And for a whole host of reasons, one structure, the corporation, may be favored over the LLC. You'll have an opportunity to offer preferred stock versus common stock. If you're looking for institutional money, corporations are more favorable in that regard. So understanding which structure makes the most sense is important to getting your company positioned to take in capital. Number two, not building your dream team. So you have this great vision. You've decided, hey, I want to bring some money in. All right, who should be on this team? Well, you want to have a business attorney. Do not rely on ChatGPT. We understand that ChatGPT is a wonderful tool. It could tell you how to do a myriad of things, but you want an attorney that can guide you through the process, because this is a relationship that you want to have for the duration of your company's existence. The accountant, you want to have someone that has an expertise in fundraising and that can guide you through the process and to make sure that the books are in order. And the other key component to your dream team, is industry experts. You want someone that knows the ins and outs of that particular industry, because there are nuances across the board. You don't want to navigate through the waters and not understand, okay, well, what's next? You want someone that understands and can anticipate what problems may arise, because problems are going to come, and you want somebody there that can help you through that. The third thing, not determining your fundraising amount. So you say, hey, I need some money. We need money. Well, how much? So you want to set your minimum, set the floor, understand what's the bare minimum that you need to operate, to continue your operations. The second thing, identifying your target. So, all right, well, beyond the floor, what was your sweet spot to accomplish major milestones for your company that you should have identified prior to even getting into this point of fundraising? And then your max, your ceiling. I mean, what's the top? Like, what do you over and above those milestones, what do you want to bring in? And that's all three numbers should be considered in defining what your raise will be.
Continuing on to the financial side of this, Uzoma is going to handle how we should be allocating and the taxation portion as well.
Okay, so when you're asking the slide before, Jamar told you, you need to know what your funding requirement is. Okay, now that you know what it is, do you know the pieces of it? Do you have the granular understanding of all the pieces that make it up? Because when you're raising money, yes, you want to raise $10 million. You want to get $5 million. But remember that you're going to be giving people pieces of the company based on what they give you. So if you go raise that $10 million and your company is only valued at $10 million, you've just given away the entire company. So a better way to do it is the built runway approach. You borrow just enough to build out this much runway and have fixed deliverables. So you say, okay, I need $500,000 to build this much of the runway. And then I can come back to the investors at a subsequent round or a subsequent stage and say, look what I did with the first amount of money. Here's what I need now for the second. That way you don't take too much and give away too much of the company. You see, now the pieces that you're borrowing, not borrowing, the pieces of equity that you're taking are corresponding to the piece of runway you're building, so you're never giving away too much of the company. That's why this slide is important. What it's saying is, it's one thing to understand the total amount you need. It's quite another thing to understand the pieces that make it up and what you need right now versus what you need later. So this is getting deeper into your numbers and just kind of getting familiar with them. That's what this is. Plan. You got to plan your capital allocation.
So part of that is also understanding that if you have your target amount, how much could you get away with 25%? What could you use it for and what that would do? So being very clear and intentional about the money from 25, 50, 75, and 100%. Just dealing with and waiting for that full amount isn't going to be cost effective or isn't going to be able to take you through your runway as well. So making sure that you understand where every bit of your metrics and your money is coming from is important, which is where Uzoma was trying to explain about the understanding the pieces of where that goes.
Okay, so deal documents. This kind of is a lawyer slide. You know, this is why you got to have your team together. This is what we do. But you got to have a fundamental understanding. And thank God for ChatGPT and for AI. You can do some research. Figure this stuff out for yourself. A safe agreement simply means a simple agreement for future equity. It's a way of saying, and it's a revolutionary instrument. It came out in like 2013 from Y Combinator, and the idea was we were making up stuff. I mean, and that doesn't mean we don't make up stuff anymore. We've been making these things up for many years. Valuations, estimates, funding rounds. Oh my God! And somebody finally had a moment of clarity and said, you know what? When you're dealing with a startup, you really don't know the numbers. So to come out and say this company is going to be valued at $10 million in 1 year, and I'm going to give you 1 million. If you give me $1 million, I'll give you 10% of it. People began to really understand how far out that was. It's really hard. So what they did was they came up with an instrument. It's really short. It's really simple. You can truly read it and understand what it's saying. And it says simply that give me this money and I will give you equity at a future date based on future criteria. We agree on what that criteria will be and how that will convert into the valuation that we achieve at that point, but we make no pretenses that we know the valuation right now of which you're getting a piece. So that takes away the big problem that we have of these projects, which is valuation. So safes are great. They're very common. They're very popular. You should know what a safe is. Read one for yourself. Get educated. Convertible notes are also used a lot. That just as the term implies, a convertible note is a borrowing. So you ask this guy to lend you money for 1 year, for 18 months at this interest. It's a straight borrowing. However, it has a clause that says at the time when the money is payable, the person can either take their money and go away, and it's a debt and they paid their principal plus interest, they walk away, or they can convert into certain amount of shares of stock or member units of your company. So to convert, so those are the two common ways, but there'll be other documents, and that's kind of what your lawyer is there to help you do, understand the deal documents. This is the cautionary tale is there's a lot of AI out there right now, and everyone thinks they understand deal documents because ChatGPT told you what a deal document is. It can tell you in a very blasé, very general, detailed way what the contract, but what it doesn't tell you is how to think about, how to position that thought process. So be very careful when you do these. People get tempted to go cut these documents. When we say not understanding deal documents, we're not saying go and read deal documents and come and bring them to the table. We're saying understand them enough to be what do you call it? To have some knowledge to discuss it, to be able to comprehend what your lawyer is saying to you, but give it to your lawyer and trust that your lawyer will be able to position and guide you correctly on the deal documents. So you understand enough, but your lawyer does the work for you.
There's also the portion of understanding that, as Uzoma was saying, your lawyer will also work with you strategically into deciding about the timing of it and the strategy of how to deal with each investor, as well as understanding when to actually do the funding round and so forth. So there's certain parts of subtextual intangible discernment that your lawyer and you requires a human touch. So there's a portion that, understanding your deal documents, understanding what it means, and then how does it apply to your current matter, and how does it apply to your investor, and how will each investor react to each of these deal documents is important as well too. So understanding is just one part of it as well.
Not understanding or defending your valuation. You are selling, there's a lot of, when you think about business, I'm always fascinated by how people can make business sound so complicated. It really isn't. You got a product, you got a customer, you want to convince the customer to take your product at a particular price, and that price is profitable to you. That is every single business ever invented. There is no difference in that. When you're fundraising, it's the same idea. You got a product. You want someone, not in this case to buy it, but to give you money to build it out. So you're asking someone for $1 million. Why? Always ask yourself, why would that person, if you were in their shoes, well, that's not good. The bottom line is, why would anybody give you that money? Are you able to convince somebody that the $1 million they're parting with is commensurate with the value that you're given? In fact, what you're trying to say is, I'm giving you $1 million for something worth $5 million. You should be rushing at this. How do you get them to understand that? Valuation. You got to do a really good job of using common sense, street knowledge, internet searches, valuation professionals, and coming to a number that is defensible. Now get ready to have that number kicked and poked and turned upside down. You have to know that number 360. There can't be any question someone asks you on that number that you cannot defend. So even when you get a valuation report from someone who does this thing for a living, a lot of those guys, I got to tell you, some of them don't really do that good a job. It's just a fact. So when you get that report, it's up to you to treat that report as a hostile, be hostile towards it. Basically go at it like you imagine the most sophisticated, reluctant investor is going to go at it. Really poke at it until you truly understand. So valuations are good, but they're only as good as your ability to defend them and to really know the details of the numbers. You got to be able to cite sources at the drop of a hat. Why do you think there's going to be a 20% CAGR over the next, for this reason, that reason, that reason. You got to bring this. You can't have this attitude of, let me think about that. I'm not even sure why we said that. No, you can't do that, because every time you do that, just imagine money slipping away from you. Every time, confidence is such a big thing in startups. You have to have confidence, and you have to convey confidence to your investors. Anything that makes them even hesitate is costing you money, costing you investors. So as confident and as assured as you can be behind your valuations, you need to be comfortable to say, hey, this other business got sold for this much. This other, this one down the street did so and so. project your financials, do some very good financial statements that project the future based on reasonable assumptions. And if there's any historic data, pull that into, like, you want to really go to town here, because this is where you are trying to put a number on something that doesn't even exist. It's imaginary, but you need to draw it into the world of reality. And that's what you do with a valuation that's well supported.
So one of the next mistakes that people do or founders do before they actually approach investors is not knowing the equity test for investors. What does that mean? And it's usually composed of 5 parts: time, skills, resources, value, and then money. Okay, so let's take it step by step. So time is how much time will that investor give you over the course of their investment? Is it the next year? Is it the next 6 months? How much time? Is it maybe once a month, maybe 4 times a year they'll sit down with you? Next one is skill set. Is the investor also going to give you skills? Do they have a specific set of skills like technology or a specific type of consumer or marketing approach to it? And then the third one is resources. Resources are, do they have a specific database, or can they connect you to other clients? Can they connect you to other investors? Who and how are they connected is one way of resources, or do they have a specific skill set? They're all kind of interchangeable in this fashion. And then value. Value is kind of the catch-all term that you maybe just want them in your corner because of the fact that they're good for your cap table, or they will incite more confidence from other investors if they show up on your cap table as well. The last one is money. And we put money last because of the fact is, if they just give you money, then their value runs out when that money runs out. And then they've got equity in your company. The idea is to get at least 3 or 4 out of the 5 before you actually give them equity in the company. Now, the reason why safe notes and convertible notes really work well is because there's a set amount of time before they can actually convert to equity. So they can actually show up in certain ways before that equity converts. So there's an option for that. If you don't have 3 or 4 or 5, then make sure that you can probably do a loan document where you can just, they can loan you the money, you can pay them back, but they won't get any equity into your company. So needing to know the equity test for each of your investors is important, because your cap table is your company. So basically, whoever owns a piece of your company is part of that cap table as well. And you have to be very, very particular about who enters on that cap table, because it's harder to take back equity than to give it away. Mistake number 8, not engaging investors early. Okay, so it's kind of like insurance. The fact that you want to buy insurance when you don't need it. So then when you do need it, it's easily deployed. So much the same way with investors, even before you start around, maybe a year, 2 years out, you want to actually start having those conversations with potential investors. So building those relationships from early introductions before you even need funding. So you go to all these startup events, make sure you're not just meeting other colleagues and other potential partners, but also look for investors and start talking to them. Have a follow-up with them. Send them regular updates. So if you have a newsletter, and we recommend that you have a quarterly newsletter that you send out to all of your followers, your consumers, your also advisors, staff, your support team, because they can also use that newsletter to send that out to introduce you to other people. And so this network becomes multiplied. And so you want to use this newsletter to showcase progress. It's also a great way to keep you accountable, because you've got to send out that newsletter in order to have something to show of what you've done with the company. Then you want to share the successes, highlight achievements and milestones reached. They shouldn't be new to your product. They should know about you. They should hear about you. They should know from other people what's happening in your company as well. And then always, always, always stay professional. And then don't stalk them, because that can get problematic as well too, because you aren't the only startup that wants the money as well, but they need to see the value of you and their investment, and where your valuation comes into play as well. So there's a reason of maintaining boundaries, connecting with them, and also showing how valuable your company would be on their investment portfolio. Okay, so that all starts a conversation first. Number 9, not maintaining innovation during fundraising. This is a bit controversial because you're like, oh, I'm running around, I don't have time for anything else, and so forth. But here's the deal. You should always be innovating, always, 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 because you should be thinking about the next 6 to 12 months, what's going to happen. So part of these is creating capital through innovation. So still developing recurring revenue streams, creating membership programs, addressing client pain points, and holding regular innovation meetings, whether it's once a month, at least once a month, and it doesn't go more than once a quarter. It has to be at least once a month, maybe once a week, have a R&D meeting, and about new ideas and new prospects for the company to move it forward. Why does this matter? This matters because when an investor, or really any sort of profit loss statement, is going to show how much research and how much development that you're putting into your future products. The investor is going to want to know whether your company is a good investment now in year 1, year 2, or year 3. So you have to show them your potential projections as well as your potential products that is coming up on your roadmap. So don't ever forget innovation in the middle of fundraising as well. Okay, so one of the innovation stress tests that we talk through is, does it add client value? Okay, will it actually add value to a consumer in order for them to buy it? That's always the measurable metric is someone buying your product? Okay, does it increase your monthly revenue? Monthly revenues matter because of the fact that it increases your MRR, which also increases your potential value for a buyer, not just an investor, for a buyer to buy you in the future. And of course, does it improve your profit margins? Okay, and will investors see the value? All of these are metrics that matter, and they all lead back to you continuing your innovation journey as well, even during fundraising. And number 10, this is important, okay? Number 1 mistake is avoiding deal fatigue, or not understanding what this is, okay? Deal fatigue is when you just get tired, okay? We'll be honest with you and say fundraising is exhausting. It sucks, okay? And you want to plan for the marathon, not the sprint, right? You want to manage your own team's expectations and maintain your stamina throughout it. So that means even doing what you need to do to maintain your personal health, your physical health, your mental health as well, having a good support system around, even talking to other founders that are fundraising as well. Having a good advisory board helps because it keeps you in perspective, having that 30,000-foot look at it to pull you out of the weeds to understand, hey, it's happening. Don't worry about it. We'll move the needle every day. And just also to understand these numbers, 80% of deals fail due to founder burnout and fatigue. Yeah, it all comes down to you at that point. So you have to maintain your mental strength on this, okay? The average fundraising duration for early stage startups is 6 to 12 months. Yeah, that's like almost a whole year. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon here. And it usually takes anywhere from 50 to 75 meetings before closing a round. These are the hard facts. So what does that mean? Actually, how can you help yourself here? Always have like 5 to 10 minutes between each meeting, okay? When you have coffee meetings in your networking, if people sign up, always leave some time for some downtime for yourself to take a breath, to think about next steps, to also fill out your own investor CRM to say, where do we go? What are your thoughts about it? You know, to give yourself some time. Build in some meditation, build in some walks, build in some time with your own team to keep their perspective up as well. Deal fatigue is real and it creeps up on you. And so we want to avoid this 80% success rate, okay? We want everyone to succeed. So part of that is also avoiding your own burnout and fatigue. Take a vacation if you have to, take a step back, only book investor calls during a certain amount of time, or just say, okay, only 2 or 3 weeks out of the month, I'm going to take these investor calls. The rest of the time, I'm going to take that time for myself. So it seems intangible. Obviously, we're a law firm, so we can't tell you how to handle your mental health, but this is something that you should keep top of mind as well too. This should actually be number 1 and not number 10, because this is a domino effect that will help the others, okay? And then the bonus, of course, okay? So not considering alternative funding options. So what? You don't have to raise a round. This is just one way. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it. Consider accelerators, okay? Where you can sign up for Techstars, Y Combinator. Uzoma brought that up with the SAFE note, there are many, many other accelerators out there. A lot of venture capital firms are running their own accelerators with their own deal terms. So take a look through and research those. And then also, they also offer capital, mentorship, and valuable connections. Consider grants, free money. It's free. The problem is you have to apply to many of them, okay? So that's okay. Also build that into your schedule. Maybe you take some time out of your fundraising to do one, a few grants or about 10 grants a month to apply to them, okay? So because of the fact that you don't have to worry about equity with that. And then check out any of the free resources that are out there. A lot of startup events that have happened. We just had New York Tech event, Tech Week, we had Hamptons Tech Week, and all of these different organizations offer free resources even after those events. So take a look at that as well. Many accelerators offer legal courses, business training, and VC access. Many of us on this call have actually done some startup advising as legal for many VCs as well and private equity firms. So again, you can take advantage of many resources, free resources as possible. And wrapping it up, your fundraising journey starts here, okay? You want to prepare thoroughly, get your documents, team, and strategy in place, engage strategically, and execute with confidence. Of course, defend your valuation, allocate funds wisely, and maintain your stamina throughout all of it. But it is a long-term marathon, and part of that is maintaining your perspective and your hopes and your mindset throughout all of that as well. And if you have any questions, we're going to check the chat in a bit. You can always contact us for a complimentary call, Romano Law PLLC. We'll sit down with you and talk through all your options for fundraising, accelerators, grants, and where you are in this journey as well.